creatives pitch their films, TV series, podcasts, or digital content. We today on the Live Pitch Workshop are going to interview an amazing guest. Her name is Nicole Tossou. She's a development guru. She started her career as a page for NBC, which is, most people don't understand, that's grueling work. Lots of grueling work, but that's where she started. And then later on went to A&E Studio, where she helped evaluate formats and books for optioning potential. Then to Spring Hill Entertainment, which you guys may know as LeBron James and Maverick Carter's production company. While there, she developed a couple of things, in particular, Netflix's series Self-Made, inspired by the life of Madam C.J. Walker, and Rise Up the Movement That Changed America, which aired on the History Channel. Now, Nicole is at Project X Entertainment as the Executive Vice President of Television and also serves as the executive producer on the hit Netflix series Night Agent. So everyone, please welcome Nicole Tossou, which I'm impressed by your last name. I know I'm not pronouncing it like the official appropriate way, but it's a beautiful last name.
Thank you. Thank you
It's
so
beautiful.
much. Yes, I've kept it. I've been married for 10 years this year. But I just never changed it.
Congratulations.
Part of it is just laziness. But no, but I
It's a lot of
really,
work.
it's a lot of work. I don't want to do all those changes. But my daughter, our daughter has both of our last names. But yes, if you would like to pronounce it correctly, it's Tossou, which is
Tossou.
basically, which loosely translates to like big ocean, because my family's from Benin, West Africa. So
That's why I
yeah.
love it. I love the ocean. So I'm like, oh wow, that's like such a poignant last name. Okay, so welcome to Live Pitch Workshop. We're glad to have you here.
Thank
And
you.
we're just going to start in with some questions. I think the first question I think a lot of the students for our TV Production 101 class had is basically, what does a creative executive do? Like, how would you define sort of your role within the industry?
So it's a lot. But essentially it's being like a cheerleader. It's being a parent sometimes. But it's essentially my job is to find you know, things that would turn into great TV shows, right? And that
Okay.
can start anywhere. That can start from an article that can is something that exists already, a script, a good spec script, like someone they just wrote on their own. That could serve as a really good jumping off point for a show. Um, but as a producer, you wear a lot of hats. It's talent management, it's finding the creative, it's managing personalities, also being creative too. There's a little bit of writing involved as well. I'm not saying I'm a writer, but a lot of the times when you come up with an idea, sometimes you just got to put it on paper yourself before you can share it with another writer or another producing partner or studio or even sometimes like a network exec. So I wear many hats, but my day to day typically is like, what do I want to watch on TV? What would I want to watch? Because I'm a fan of
Hmm.
TV, so I'm like, what would I want to watch on
Same,
TV?
same.
And then I go, okay, what's missing from what's on the air, and then I just try to go find it. So that's essentially it.
I love that. That's very, very easy to digest. You are a TV a fan or a fan of TV, and you try to
Mhm.
figure out how to get what you want to watch on the screen, which is fantastic. So, what inspired you to go into TV, or was this something that you kind of always knew you wanted to do, or was there a moment where you're like, "Hey, that's it. That's what I want to do."
I loved TV. Like since I don't remember when I started watching TV, but it's from as early I can remember. I loved watching TV. That was like my escape. I read books, I played, I did other things. I didn't stay in the house all day. I wasn't that kid, but I did watch a lot of TV. And at first, I thought I wanted to be an actress. I was like, I want to be on the TV. And then I realized that I love food a lot. And I was like, because everyone on TV was skinny. Everyone was skinny at the time, right? I was like, this is probably not gonna work because I love food too much. So fast forward to when I went to school, went to college in New York, and I kind of got a sense that there was, I know these companies were in New York and there were people that were working in there, and I knew they were doing other things other than being actor and actresses, right? So,
Hmm.
but 'cause at the time I didn't know a producer. I knew because I read credits, but I didn't know how to get that job, right?
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha.
I just knew it was like, okay, okay, I'm not gonna act because food. I got to figure something else out. And so when I did the page program, that's when I officially learned like, oh, there are people that commission TV shows. Duh. I think I want
Yeah.
to do that. Right? Like these are the people that, that sit in their offices and they're reading scripts and they're hearing pitches and they're programming what goes on the air. That's what I want to do. I want to do that. And then I realized that job was not as fun as I thought it was going to be. I wanted to be closer to the storytelling. And then that's when I learned of the job of being a producer, that you can be there from the very beginning. And I was like, oh, okay, no, no, no. I don't want to be an exec in the office saying yes or no and having meetings to have meetings because it's meetings time. I want to be a producer that is there from the very beginning of the initial birth of the idea and then foster that to completion.
So it's so funny that you said that because I also did not know what a producer was.
You're like, when you hear something, these things, you're like, what? A producer? We just see the names on the screen. We're like, okay, so that person was wrong, but what do they actually do? Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, I had no idea. I have always been a producer. I'm the eldest of 4 kids in a single parent household, so I have run my portion of the house as if it were mine. But also I had my parents had a video camera and I would take that video camera and I would literally write out a script, like handwrite it out, give my
Hmm.
siblings roles for them to
I love
play,
it.
and then I would film it, and I would literally then play the score live on my piano, right? And then and then there was no editing equipment. It was just the camera. So it was a bunch of
I
jump
love this
cuts. It
so
was
much.
just like it was
I
just
love
jump
this so
cuts everywhere.
much.
Insane. Loud piano coming in. And I'm like,
That's
talk louder.
amazing.
Yeah, it's hilarious, and it's a lot of, family fodder for us. We laugh and joke about it and pull them up every few
Yes.
years to laugh. But even with that, as a kid, it took me until graduating college before I was like, "Oh, wait, that's a job?" Like, somebody
Right.
comes in and, like, organizes it, creates it, organizes it, and then executes it? Like,
What?
"Oh." I'm like,
And then
"Wait."
no, but then to take it a step further, I realized like I don't. There's so many different kinds of producers. I don't like being on set like at all.
Ah,
Like that's
I
not my jam.
love it,
Love
love
being
it,
right. Okay,
love it.
I don't like being on set. I like the hey, let me help you pitch this and sell this and give you notes and okay, let's how do we address this note from the network or the studio and okay, cool. Like and then the people that are the ones that go on set and do the thing and execute it,
Mhm.
then they can go do it because I like a lot of things. I like doing a lot. I'm team doing the most. I am captain of doing
Welcome, welcome.
the most. Okay. So whenever I set something up, I'm like, great, be well. I'll be here for the notes call. I'm going to focus on something else and then just rinse, wash, rinse, repeat, wash, rinse, repeat, wash, rinse,
I
repeat.
love
So
that.
that's the
I
kind
love
of
that, and
producer
then
I
you would hand it off to me, and then I would
am.
grab
Yes.
my proverbial clipboard and begin
Yes.
to tell people, "This is how we're gonna execute this."
Be like, oh,
Yeah,
bye. I'll come like once or twice. But for the most part, it's like go do your thing, and then I'll go over here and continue to. I'll just do this again. So that's the kind of producer I am.
I absolutely love that. I read in one of an article I read about you talked about how your goal was to create stories from a Black perspective, and
Yeah.
your track record has been that. Like when you look at the projects you've been a part of, it's there. You have done that, or continue to do that. Has there ever been a project that has been more personal to you, or had some sort of connection with you, knowing that that's sort of how you wanted to go into the industry, or what kind
Oh,
of legacy you wanted to
absolutely.
leave?
Absolutely. I call myself a blurred. I grew up watching Buffy. I grew up watching
Yes.
Hercules and Xena and Dead Zone. And if it has something weird and scientific and a sci-fi, fantasy, whatever, I was there. Right. So this one, I still I'm still in my feelings about it because I wasn't able to sell it, but it was a book series um, that I initially chased while I was at Spring Hill and I couldn't get it. But then when I went over to Project X, I went after it and was able to acquire it and set it up at a studio. But anyways, it's called A Blade So Black, and
Mm.
it's by L. McKinney. And essentially, it's Buffy meets Alice in Wonderland with a black teenage lead set in Atlanta. And
Speaking my
yes,
language.
girl, this book series, let me tell you, essentially what it is, it's like imagine Wonderland being real. And it is a manifestation of all of our hopes and dreams, both good and bad. And
Oh,
in this version of the story, the Alice that we know, the blue dress, blonde girl, exists, but that took place hundreds of years before. And she was the reason, or one of the queens in Wonderland blamed her for the death of her daughter. And she is like, scorched earth, I'm going to go kill everybody that's human. Her
wait,
daughter
Nicole,
Stefan,
I want to
yes.
watch this. I
Okay,
want to
that's what I'm
watch
saying.
this
That's what I'm saying.
immediately.
Okay, right? So, unfortunately, no one bought it. But the point is that what ends up happening is the two daughters go and to keep their mom from invading our land. Fast forward to today, a young girl is lost, loses her dad, and the night of his death, she sees a rabbit that turns into a monster. Someone comes in, is like, "Hey, there's a portal here. I need someone to come in and protect it. You gonna do it?" And she's like, "No." But then she gets convinced to, and then the rest is history. So it's a trilogy. I just love the books, and I acquired it, found a writer, found a showrunner, took it out. Unfortunately, because of the writer strikes, the momentum that we had in taking it out kind of, you know how it is.
You
So
just you
anyway,
just gave me PTSD, Nicole. You just
I
gave
know,
me PTSD.
and we still in it. We still in it. We still in it. But so there's that. But the flip side, there's something else that I was able to set up at a network that is very near and dear to my heart. We're developing it right now, and we landed two amazing writers. I'm so excited about. But it's inspired by the Bed-Stuy Volunteer Ambulance Corps in New York, the Bed-Stuy Volleys. hmm And the story of J.
Okay.
Starkey Robinson and Joe Perez and Tamsin, and how they basically created an ambulance corps when no one was going in the hood in the 80s in Bed-Stuy. So what we're
Yes.
doing is that we're turning that into a contemporary um, medical drama procedural. So picture like, Rescue Me meets Queen Sugar. So
I I love it. Also, just side note for our TV
yeah,
production studios, did you see how Nicole just gave a comparison of the show that we can easily identify what the show is? Queen Sugar
yeah,
is something we've identified with. And what was the other show? You said
Rescue
it
Me.
Rescue Me. Yes, which I haven't watched that series yet, but um they're learning about pitch decks and how when you set up your pitch or your synopsis, it's important for you to help
Correct.
identify
Yes,
comparable shows. So they are, I just wanted to point that out. Lesson,
yes, yes.
message, pick it up now.
Message. Yes, comps are
Exactly.
so important. It's the easiest and quickest way to get someone into the zone of what you are um, trying to convey in your story, right? Like without comps, I will say that the next important thing, if you can't figure out shows that exist to kind of that you can use to compare to the show that you want, you have to really be able to figure out what the words are in your tone, right? Like
Mhm.
a lot of the times, girl, there'll be times where I'll be putting something together. I'm like, there's nothing that that sounds like this, and a lot of it is like picture Elle Woods as Phoebe Waller-Bridge in Fleabag, and then you throw her into a scenario where it feels like Groundhog Day. Like,
Ah,
you see what I'm saying? Like, I didn't
got
say it's like
it.
Legally Blonde because
Yeah,
sometimes the character that's in the particular like show or movie is not it, but the character is right. So
yeah.
sometimes you want to say character, but then you plop this character in this world, and then you throw in something else into whatever that helps with, describing what you're trying to look for. But it can be very tricky.
I love it. Students, clock it. Clock it, okay? Because that's the number one thing they ask. It's always like, well, do I have to do a comparison? I'm like, if you want someone to understand exactly what world you're building, yes.
Yes,
Yes. It
yes,
has to
very,
happen.
very important.
Whether you put that on the paper or you say that in the verbal exchange or how, but it has to exist. It has to
Yeah.
exist.
Hmm.
Okay, so another thing we're learning about is buyer mandates. That was last week's lesson, a term that a
Hmm.
lot of people hadn't heard of, but it's one of those industry terms. It's very industry.
Hmm.
Um, and so much so that we don't even really say it. We just kind of, it exists. So as they were learning about it, they had lots of questions about how to find that information. So a lot of times my advice was sometimes you just have to kind of, sometimes it's in the trade, sometimes it's in press releases for networks, and sometimes it's just information that people just know and have.
Hmm.
It's not something that they just kind of announce, but you can kind of identify what it could be depending on network streaming services. They kind of have a vibe, and it might kind of coincide with that. So, with all that said,
Yeah.
as someone who options things, who looks at things to bring them to light, is there something that you in particular are looking for in types of projects at the moment?
I ignore mandates.
We love you. We love you. We love you.
Sorry.
I
I'm like, it
literally
comes
go,
to these
I
mandates.
literally
I'm like,
go,
mm-mm.
Nicole, I literally go, here are the rules. Ignore them. But let's just know them before we ignore them. Okay.
Look,
Yes.
let me tell you something, y'all. I'm about to be all the way real. This is Sunday. It's a long weekend. Look, buyer mandates are annoying, okay? Because the soon as they tell them, 50, 11 people show up at their door with what they're looking for, and then they buy it, and then it's gone. They change so rapidly, and it wasn't always like this. Because I'm thinking I'm part of the probably the last class of individuals that saw when the networks had a mandate, and then they stuck with it
Hmm.
for a long time and actually in earnest went after those things. Nowadays, because of how often the industry has changed or is changing, um, the mandates don't really matter. If I'm chasing a mandate, I'm not going to chase after the things that matter to me, right?
Yeah.
A lot
Yeah.
of the times these networks don't know what they're looking for. I use the bear as an example. That man, the bear was a feature at one point. I think Shia LaBeouf was attached.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then right, and then it didn't
Hmm.
happen, and then he turned it into a TV show, and then he took it out, and everyone was like, no, 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 no. And then FX was like, why not? Now it's one of the biggest shows on TV, right? Now everyone will be like, I want my bear. No, you don't, because if you
No, you
did,
don't.
that you would
You
have
would have
just
took the bear. You would have had the
thank
bear.
you. You would have had a bear.
You would have. You would have had the bear.
So I don't believe in mandates. I think they're a guide, right? It's good to know, like, because then I go, oh, okay, ABC is generally looking for this, NBC is generally looking for this, Netflix just wants everything,
Right.
Max is this, FX is this, great. But for the most part, it's really I just ignore them and I go after the things that I want to see. And my job is to find that executive that gets it and goes, yes, I want to do this with you. Now, the flip side of that is you don't want to write something that no one wants to watch, right?
Right.
So the cheat code that I would like to give writers is if you're going to want to write something that's out there, find a way in that's universal. So
Hmm.
it's kind of like I like to call it nostalgia. I heard this term and I was like, this is it. Nostalgia. It's something that feels familiar, but you find a new way in, right? So that's the way to cheat it a little bit. Like you can say, I want to write a girl that her best friend is an imaginary friend, right? Now
Okay.
people are gonna be like, okay, that's a little weird. But if you say, but she's also a doctor and she works in a hospital, and it's a procedural, then it's like, oh, it's a
Oh,
procedural. But
got it.
the character has an imaginary friend. See what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
which is brilliant, by the way. It's brilliant.
I just made that up. But
I'm
you see
like,
what I'm
girl,
saying?
write
Like,
that down.
somebody write this. Somebody write this. But you get what I'm saying? It's doing the thing that you want to do, but then maybe finding a way so it feels familiar for people so they aren't so scared. Because right now buyers are scared. The buyers,
Yeah,
executives that are listening to these pitches and making these decisions are scared that they're going to lose their job at any moment because you have all of these mergers, you have these acquisitions, you have people just shutting stuff down because they say we ain't got it, right? You have
yeah,
whole divisions like studios, like ABC Signature, I think is gone now.
yeah.
Yeah,
Shut
ABC
down.
Signature is
Yeah,
gone.
they're gone.
Paramount Television Studios gone, right? So you they're not thinking clearly, and I don't blame them because again they're very fearful. So they are looking at TV as like, if I get one thing wrong, if I buy a show that and it makes it to air and it doesn't work, that's my
Hmm.
job. So that's what they're very fearful of. So basically this is a long way of me saying bump those mandates, do write what you want to write, but also be aware that it's a weird time. Excuse me, there's a weird time right now, so you might have to finesse a little bit, you know.
When you were talking about nostalgia, but find a new way in, I instantly thought of Stranger Things and the
Hmm.
way, because we just talked about their pitch deck, and the whole pitch deck is like it's
Yeah.
ET
Hmm.
meets Close Encounters of the Third Kind,
Hmm.
and it's an homage to Steven Spielberg and Stephen King. So that is like instantly, I'm like, oh, I love both those people. What are we talking
Right.
about? Okay,
Right.
what's going on with it? And then they go into the pitch. It was originally called Montauk, and it was supposed to take place in Montauk, Long Island. So
Right.
then that was like their way in. But nostalgia is definitely the way to get people right now.
Yeah,
I feel
people
like that
love
is it.
nostalgia. They love them. I mean, look, Night Agent is a perfect example of that. Night Agent feels like any of those. When we were initially pitching it, I was like, imagine a Harrison Ford movie from the '90s, but we're turning it into a TV show. And people were like,
Oh,
oh, okay, right?
yeah,
Like
got
Clear
it.
and
Got
Present
it.
Danger, like The Fugitive, like Air Force One, like so when you read The Night Age of the book, it really felt like a movie that would have been like a huge hit in the '90s, right? By any of those
Hmm.
stars, Richard Gere, Harrison Ford, picture one good-looking white dude. That's what the movie would have been. But
Liam Neeson. No.
Liam Neeson. But then,
Yeah.
for the TV show version, it was that it was well, Sean didn't pitch it that way, but Sean's the Sean Ryan is the showrunner, and he had this really heartwarming way into the pitch where he talked about that this would have been a show that his dad um, would have watched, and his dad's name is Jack Ryan. I was like, okay,
You're like, okay, sir. Okay, somebody's done
yeah.
this before.
I was like,
Oh,
okay,
that's so
this is
good.
good. But yeah, that's what it was. And then he went into the story of Peter and his relationship with his dad, and how he wanted to use the show to explore relationships that dads and sons have. And it was inspired by, his own relationship with his dad. So that was really cool. And then, the rest is history.
I love that. Wait, so at what stage were you part of Night Agent, like in the
From the
development
very
process? Were you
beginning.
right from the very beginning? Love that.
Very beginning.
So,
Yeah. I joined, oh sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no,
Go
no,
ahead.
no, go ahead. No, no, no. That was it. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I joined Project X. I had very good timing. Um, now y'all should said the way y'all had me binge Night Agent in 2 days should be study.
Girl, I told them, I was like, don't get on here and embarrass me. Go
That's
watch Night
funny.
Agent. 2
No,
seasons. Thank you,
it
Nyasha.
it's one of my favorite things hearing people's reaction to the show. But no, I joined Project X in February 2020. Like, and I was in the office for like 2 weeks before the pandemic,
Mhm.
and we were and actually I'll tell you this, my second to last in-person lunch was with Sean Ryan and his producing partner, and we told him about this book that we had, and then it worked out. So I was there from the very beginning. um uh when he wanted to write it on spec, when Sony was like yes, when all the things, and then when we took it out, pitched it, sold it to Netflix, uh, the whole, wrote the whole season out, filmed it during, uh, I don't remember what wave of the pandemic was, Omicron. I don't remember, but it
Oh God.
was in
Nicole, the
Vancouver.
PTSD. The
I'm sorry.
PTSD.
I'm sorry. Yes, Wesley Snipes would have been perfect for this. Sorry, I'm looking at the
Oh
comments.
yeah. Oh, I
He
love
would
that
have he
bow.
would have been a perfect Peter. You right. You right. You right. Okay, anyways, but yeah, from the very beginning. And we shot it in Vancouver. Um and being from DC, I was a little bit nervous about how we were going to have Vancouver be DC, but Seth Gordon, the director of the first season, who spent a lot of time in DC, knew exactly where to go in Vancouver to make it double for DC. Did a very good job. Um, and then yeah, and then it's, when it dropped in 2023, it did its thing. It still is a top 10 of all time. It's number 7, I believe. Season 1 is number 7 of all time for
It's
Netflix,
so
and
good. It's so
we
good.
got a renewal like 4 days after the show dropped, and which was like the fastest renewal ever. And then yeah, season 2 dropped, and now we're shooting season 3. So
With
which
Wesley
I'm
Snipes.
obsessed with. I know. I wish she did find a role for Wesley Snipes. That would have been great. But no, but it's no, but what the writers have done a really good job of also is going beyond the book. So because season 1 was definitely the book, and then season 2 was a whole new story. So it's season 3. Season 3 is fire, y'all.
I can't wait. I cannot wait. The cliffhanger. The cliffhanger from season
Girl.
2. I'm like,
Girl.
what? I'm like,
Wait till
where's
you
the
see
next
season 3.
episode? Ah, I can't.
Mm-mm-mm.
I can't.
It's good,
Uh,
y'all.
I was like, is he going to expose the whole thing? Like, what's
I,
happening? They're not going to have his
but
back. He going to be out
all
there,
I'm
out
saying,
there. I know. No
Peter
pressure
finds a
to
way.
give us any secrets. Oh, we know. Peter found a way. He's going to find a way. He's gonna find a way. So tell me a little bit about what while it's filming. Are you on set? I know you said that you may come like once or twice, but what has that experience been like for you with specifically with Night Agent?
Yeah, no, when I was on set I've been on set a couple of times. And they're both very different. They're
Mm.
they're very different. Self-made. That was great. I mean, Octavia Spencer. We're telling Manatee Day Walker's story. Long overdue. It was awesome. Right. Night Agent was, I think, because this is when you know your show is good, when the crew is excited about it.
Yeah, yeah.
The crew was excited about it. They
Because
were
they
like,
don't get excited about anything. They're
nothing.
like,
They don't go
we clock in. They're like, we clock in. When's
It's so
lunch? Are we
true.
getting breaks? Did the union know that you're going over an hour?
Pretty much. And they're like, we out. So I knew we had a show when there's a gentleman that usually is a line producer, but he stepped down to be a UPM, unit production
Okay.
manager. And I was like,
Well, that's interesting. That's interesting.
oh, okay.
Sure. You're like,
Oh,
sure.
you sure you want to do this? He was like, because I love this show so much. I
Well,
am just going to take a, you know, step down. He's like, because I was a line producer, but I'm just going to come on board for this. Matt, he's such a great guy. And so when people were excited to cast, when people were excited to be a part of it, that's when I knew we had something. So that vibe was on set. Like
love,
everyone knew
love.
that they were excited. They were excited to do something, and also the cast was they were just so great. Luciani and Gabe and um, I just everybody Fola. They were just everyone was just so sweet and so amazing. And maybe it's a Canadian thing because everyone was really nice, but it was a fun set. It was a fun set. It was really good
I
times. But
love
yeah, I only went there for a
that.
little bit. Also because it was during, I'm sorry to say again, COVID. Um, I didn't want to spend too much time, and there was all this testing that you had to do. It was just like obnoxious.
Oh
So it was
yeah.
just like,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Which PTSD.
Mhm.
Like, I've taken so many COVID tests, it's ridiculous.
It's annoying.
Yeah, during the height of COVID, I was at CBS Mornings, and I was in every day at 5 a.m. taking a COVID
Mm.
test, and then we had to take a COVID test to leave. I was like, "What?" They're like, "Yeah, just in case something happened while you were here." I'm
I
like,
can't.
"Okay, okay, okay, whatever." But also, it was in the middle of Times Squares where we would film, so I was like,
Right.
"Whatever,
Yeah,
whatever." Even though Times Square was empty, I was like,
I'm
"If I got
sure.
nothing out of COVID, it is being able to stand in the middle of Times Square and it's empty,
The only time that's
empty."
happened for me was when I was a page and I would be leaving because we would do SNL
Mhm.
and we would go to the after parties and I would get home and there was nothing there. Like there would be no one there. And at one time I was being foolish. I was like, I'm just gonna walk around by myself. I don't know. Just don't do this, y'all. But I did it. I did it.
Mm-mm,
This is
mm-mm.
old New York City. And I walked around from 30 Rock to 42nd Street just to like see what it was like, and no one was on the street.
It's
No one was
insane.
on the street. And I
It's
took the
insane.
subway up to some point. I don't know where. Then I took a car. But anyways, it was a really weird time. But I'm sure because I was in Oregon at the time when COVID went down. I went up to basically moved in with my in-laws. My daughter was in daycare. Her daycare shut down. I just started a new job. And so I was like,
You're like,
well, grandpa daycare, we don't have to go up there because I can't. I don't know how people did it with kids at home, but we were so lucky to have her be that young. She wasn't even two yet, so basically all she needed to be was entertained. And thankfully, my father-in-law was retired, um, and he basically took care of her while we were in
that is
different parts of the
such a
house.
blessing.
It was very
That's a
much a
blessing.
blessing.
I had to do that for my nephews. I think one was in, it was such a weird time that one was in kindergarten and the other had just started pre-K.
Mm.
And it was all on Zoom. They had Zoom school. And the one in pre-K, I was like, what are they going to do on Zoom?
On Zoom,
Like,
yeah.
what? And when I tell you it was the most entertaining thing I've ever witnessed in my life. And then my nephews, just their personalities are so different. So I've one who Zoom school meant a suit and tie for him. He would put on a jacket, he would put on his sweater vest, he would sit in front of his Zoom and he would just be like, right?
Wow.
The other was like, "What is this? I'm still at my house. I'm gonna keep my pajamas on." And I'd be like, "No,
Exactly.
I need you to put jeans and a t-shirt." He's like, "But I'm
He's like,
at
why?
home."
I'm home.
He
That's
couldn't
outside
fathom it.
clothes. Yeah, I get that. He's like, that's outside
He
clothes.
couldn't
What am I
fathom it.
doing? That's a waste of clothes. That's a waste of an
No,
outfit.
yes, but the pre-K kids, I was just like, if I was not in the middle of this, like, whatever we're calling this COVID thing, like, I would have written about it because I saw so many parents walking in front of the screen naked.
Oh
I
yeah,
saw
me too.
so many, I was like, "What is happening?" So
Hmm.
many kids telling the family business, and all of a sudden their
Hmm.
video feed goes out. I was like,
Hmm.
"Not your
It
mom
was
snatching the feed up."
it was a time, man. I hope to
It was a
God we
time.
don't have to revisit that ever again. But it was a time. It was a very interesting time. But I learned a lot. I learned a lot about myself during that period because I was in this new job. You know how we are. We always work, 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 work.
Mhm.
And I realized that I needed to establish boundaries. Like I was doing
Even more
too much,
so.
right?
Even more so at that time,
And
yeah.
so the boundaries I learned from there and from then at that time I still carry it with me to this day. So I shut stuff down at a certain time. I try not to answer any emails after 6 o'clock. I try not to work on the weekends. I rarely work on the weekends. And whenever I say that, people are like, really? How do you do that? I'm like, because I do what needs to be done during the week. And if I can't do it during the week, and if it absolutely needs to be done, I'll do it on the weekend. Duh, I'll do my job. But if it can be
Yeah.
done tomorrow, I'm gonna do it tomorrow. You're
Yep.
not gonna have me
Girl.
out here all hours in the night reading scripts and giving notes. No, ma'am. It's not that serious. I love my
Yep.
job, but I don't love it that much.
Yeah. No, I had to learn those boundaries too, because I'm normally on set. So you know what set is just like, you go
I miss
nonstop.
it.
then
Yes.
you come home and you're like, "Oh, I have to prep for the next day." And so then you find
Right.
yourself up nonstop. And during COVID, when you're home, there's no, you walk away, make dinner, and you come back to your computer. You wake up, you grab your phone. Like there was very little sort of separation. And so you had to
Very.
intentionally put that in there. And it stayed. So yeah, I'm like you, it stayed. And I'm happy that it stayed because we don't do the
Yeah.
weekends. We just
We don't
relax
do
a
the
little bit. We do our
weekends. And
fun stuff.
also, I also feel like I became a better producer when I lived. So like, when I would read stuff, or when I'm giving notes for things, for characters, I'd be like, this character doesn't feel like a real character, right? Like obviously they're make believe, right? It's for TV, but like
Hmm.
if you want your audience to really resonate with this character, or really feel for this character, or whatever for this character, this person needs to be lived in. So a lot of the times the notes I give are based on things that I've experienced. Like
Hmm.
how am I going to give
That's
you
great.
notes for a character if I haven't lived myself? So if you have someone that says they're going through a trauma and they have to return home to resolve that trauma, but then you're telling them that they thought it was all in their heads, but they're actively recruiting other people to go with them. They don't believe the thing is in their heads. They actually believe the thing is
Yeah.
real. Otherwise, they wouldn't be actively recruiting people to go with them to go back home to solve the problem.
Hmm.
Those are the things, right? So like, a lot of the times people think, and they think very plot focused, and plot is important, but the character informs the plot.
Yes.
So if you don't, you can have a great plot, but if you don't have a character that matches that, right, then it's going to be a boring
Hmm.
show. Everything Peter does is because of his dad, whether he wants to admit it or not,
Yep.
right? Like the minute he was like, "Oh, my dad's a traitor," that's the chip on his shoulder. That's why he was a low level person. That's why he didn't care about being a low level person. That's why when Rose called in and be like, everything was all about, I need to help, I need to help, I need to help, I need to prove myself because I had a dad that betrayed our country. That stayed with him, and it carries into season two. It's gonna carry into season
Season
three
three?
too. Yeah, of course, because that's who
What I
he
mean, is
is.
there a particular situation in
No,
season
I'm
three you
not gonna
wanna
say what the
okay.
particular
You
situation
wanna
is,
you wanna
but
tell us anything now?
what I'm saying is like it's part of who he is as a character. So of course it's going to be with him. That's why season two, I think people responded to season two so much, because a lot of folks would say, you're trying not to be, yeah,
Yeah.
that part, yes.
That's all of
So
season two. That's all of season
that's
two.
all season two, and then of course it's like also like the trauma of the experience of
Hmm.
seeing people die in front of you, or a helicopter exploded in front of you. That's why Rose was acting a fool this season, as much as I love
Nicole,
Rose.
I loved that about her though. I love that about her because it made me as a viewer who is in this world go, oh wait, that's exactly what would actually happen. Like
Hmm.
that's traumatizing as opposed to like we're used to seeing action films and series where people like, oh, I got hit by a bullet. It's okay. And now I'm gonna
Right.
go do
Like,
this
oh,
next
this is
thing.
badass. Like, no, you stop the coup. Like, what are you talking about here? Like,
Rose is like, I'm in therapy because of this. And I was like,
that
yes,
part.
girl, that makes
Um,
sense.
and the fact that Peter is like, nah, I'm good. Like, no, Peter, you're not good.
You're not. You're
So
not.
I think that's someone said Rose is beyond. I have words
Look,
and hands for
Rose
Rose.
was real. Okay. Rose was real. I was like, yes, Rose, you have night terrors.
She
Of
she
course.
was she was beyond dramatic. She was doing the most. But it felt real. Like it felt like she just couldn't process it. And remember, in season one, she revealed. I think either season one, season two, she revealed about her. No, season two, she revealed about her mom and the various guys. Sorry, these comments are hilarious.
I know
The
they're gonna
various
fight
guys that
her.
her mom was part of. I want to fight her, but the trauma is giving Queen. You guys are great. This is awesome.
Nicole, this is
But
every
no,
week.
this is,
Every week we are in the
I
comments
love it.
cracking up laughing.
I love it. I love it. But that's what it was. But again, it all goes back to understanding your character, and the only way you can really do that is if you live life. So once I realized I was doing the most, like I was working way too much and I was missing life, once I experienced life and was interacting with people and reading up on things and experiencing things, then when I read materials for things, I was like, oh, okay, so this doesn't track. Because if you're saying this
Gotcha.
person is this, they're likely to do that. And I'm telling you, the only way I was going to be able to do this is if I was able to live my life and not be so focused on the work
Just
itself.
work,
I
work, work.
watch TV too. You'd be surprised how many people in the industry don't watch TV.
No, I would not be surprised only because I was already surprised when I'm quoting, like, I'm a fan of TV, like, love
Right.
films, but I'm a fan of TV. And so I quote stuff all the time. They'll tell you in the chat, someone will say something and I'm like, oh, that's like this TV show from 1975 that was this, and this happened. Or like, oh, like
Hmm.
I'm a fan of it. So I'm always shocked when I'm around TV people and they're like, no, I don't know. I'll have to look into that. And I'm like,
It's
oh,
and then they'd be like,
huh.
well, what if we did this? I'll be like, yeah, but that happened in Severance. So
Yeah.
no.
So,
So no, like, or
yeah.
when they go, oh, I want this to be like Succession. Why?
But
There's already
how?
Succession. There's already Succession, so we don't need another Succession. So I talk about putting hands on people. I don't put actual hands on people, but
Metaphorically.
metaphorically, the comments at some executives, I'm like, y'all are just not with it. But yeah, a lot of them are not watching TV, so um it can be very annoying. But I watch a lot of other people's work, and then I see where they um fell short of certain arcs and
Mhm.
storylines and character, and then I go, oh, I am going to make sure that when my character is in this scenario in this show I'm producing or developing, I know not to do that. So um yeah.
Which makes sense. I think also too, it sort of leads me to my next question about the process you take to take on a project. Are you more looking at a project
Mm.
from your head space or your heart space?
Both. You gotta do both. um Unfortunately, it's a business. So
Yeah.
it's called show business, so it's got to be a business. So it's got to be smart. Unfortunately, this in other producers, I don't know if they'll be as honest, but as of late, have had a hard time bringing in newer writers to the fold. I find myself that I have to go get a showrunner. I have to
Mhm.
go get an upper level writer because these executives, again, they're scared. So they want to make sure that if they're buying something from someone, that they know how to do it, right?
Yeah.
Because they just spent the better part of the decade giving the keys to, a bunch of new
Mm.
writers without giving them the proper guidance to do the show, and then the show's a disaster. And so now they go, oh well, we can't do it anymore, right? Um, so you have a whole generation of writers who I'm sure there are many of them are brilliant and have great ideas who will not have a real fighting chance to get into this industry because of the big contraction that's happened, right?
Yeah.
So and the focus on buying from writers. They will never say this, but this is what I've been able to glean. They won't buy from newer writers. I mean, if they do, it has to be phenomenal. And then if you do have a new writer, you have to make sure that that writer is paired with the showrunner and that you have an 800-pound gorilla producer. But don't
Mm.
package it too much, because if you package it too much and it's too expensive and they won't buy it and all that stuff. So it's like damn if you do, damn if you don't. It's was it catch 22. My
Yeah.
American colloquialisms are not always on me
No,
because
catch 22 is perfect.
English was not my first language. So I'm like, I don't know what y'all be saying. Not, but some of the stuff that we come up with don't be making sense either. So I'll leave it at that.
No, catch 22 makes sense. I don't know why we call it that. I think after a book, maybe there's like a something, if I'm recalling.
Sure, that sounds right.
Yeah, sounds right. Sounds right. Okay, so back to like our students a little more focused with them because I will
Yeah.
chat with you about like TV stuff nonstop. But what advice would you give to some of our students who are working on developing their ideas? And I'm thinking sort of more on the inspirational side because a lot of them are just starting out. They keep hearing how tumultuous the industry is right now, how it's changing, it's not what it used to be. So,
Yeah.
what kind of advice would you lend to them as they're starting out?
I tell my interns, like, you got to be in it to win it. Like, you really need to be in it. Like, I say, like, if there isn't any inkling of you wanting to do something else, go do it.
Hmm.
Go do it. But if you want to go do it, but you still have your heart in TV, like, do both, right? There's no reason to do one or the other. I'm even doing that myself. I have a podcast. Has nothing related with TV and everything to do with health, healing, and happiness for the woman pursuing radical joy. Right? It's me
Ah,
and my girlfriend, and we call it "We Are Out of Office." And we've been doing it since November because of the shenanigans that happened in November. And I never want to feel that way again. So we decided that we are going to be out of office. And all we gonna do is focus on joy. So we're gonna talk about all now we have all this time since we're not trying to put someone in office. We have all this time now. What are we gonna talk about? Right? We're gonna talk about TV. We're gonna talk about gut health. We're gonna talk about clothes. We're going to talk about all the things, but I'm still producing. I'm still doing what I love, right? So it's either you just have to. I say all this to say I'm giving concrete examples, but what I'm saying is just make sure that if you really want to do this, that you're able to enjoy the ride because there's going to be a lot of no's. There's going to be a lot of people acting funny because everyone's trash in general, but all of them are here. Okay, they're all here. Everybody want to be in the videos, like
all up in
so
the videos.
they all
Hmm.
want to be. I'm sorry, maybe we shouldn't use that term, but that's what it is. Is like people just want to be in the videos, and people just don't really care about the art of TV. That's what I'm finding.
Yeah.
I'm finding that the John Landgrafs of the world. John Landgraf is the head of FX, and he's one of the last executives at a network that I feel really believes in art. Like when you look at Shogun,
Yeah.
right? That was a $200 million gamble. That man said, "I'm gonna go up to Dana Walden, who's an Iger. I'm gonna go up to them and say, I want to green light a limited series." That's going to cost $200 million, and it's based on a book called Shogun, written by a white dude. And yeah, I know it's 16th century feudal Japan, but check it out.
It'll work.
It's gonna work. And then we're gonna go build a village in Vancouver because I don't want to go to Japan. Excuse me, like and 80% of it's gonna be in Japanese, but not really because it's English. Like, come on, like you know what I mean? So like those kinds of moments come few and far in between. So you have to have a vision of what you want to do, and that's just a balloon. Sorry, my daughter's doing balloons. She's a balloon kid. I blame it on granddad.
Oh.
Um, but no, you have to have a vision of what you want to. Yes, Shogun is phenomenal, exactly.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
it was a gamble. But you have to have a vision of what you want to do. You have to stick to that vision. You have to stand 10 toes down on what you want to be in this industry. Not where you want to be, but what you want to be, because there's a difference. Because where you want to be is a title specific thing. What you
Yeah.
want to be is something that you can do anywhere. What I wanted to be is a source of life. I wanted to be a
Yeah.
source of joy. I wanted
Love.
to be um yeah, no, I would say joy and light. Because this industry can be so many different things. I wanted to be an example of what it's like to be a person with integrity, who doesn't play any games, who wants to tell amazing stories,
Yeah.
right? And
I love that.
so, yeah, moving forward, it's like, what do you want to be in this industry? Like when people say your name, What do you want them to say? And for me, I want them to say, C is a really good cheerleader. Like, I don't always get it right. I don't always have the best
Yeah.
notes. But if you say, I have this passion project and I want to get it done and I align with that, I'm going to try my hardest to get it done. I'll give you a point or case in point. Yeah. Um, the ambulance show, the medical procedure I mentioned earlier,
Hmm.
that is something that came to us in 2020, went through two different versions of pitch, didn't get sold. But because of my passion, I had a friend at a network who was like, I remember you loving this thing. Like, what's going on with that? And I said nothing. And she bought it essentially. She just optioned, I don't know, not life rights, but like the story or the world with no writers. It was just us as producers. She
I
made a
love it.
deal with us as producers, and now we're developing it. So that one for me, that project in particular, I want people to know who the best side volleys are and what they've been able to accomplish in the last 30 years. The fact that they are volunteer, they are is don't they're living on donations and grants, and they're still like being awarded ambulance service of the year without much. You
That's
know what I mean?
amazing. Yeah.
Those, and so now in my head, I'm like, oh, so if the show gets made, the people will know about the best advisors and they can donate. That's where my head
Yeah.
goes, right?
I love
So
that.
yeah, I'm sorry, that was a long answer for.
No, no, I love that. I love deciding not where you want to be, but what you want to be. And I never asked myself that question, but I sort of moved in purely accidentally. I didn't know I was this role for people. But I'm like you. I'm always going to inspire. I'm always going to motivate. I think we are all capable of doing our heart's desire. So if you come to me with something, I'm going to help you figure out how to do it. Like it's as
Hmm.
opposed to just going, no, it's not going to work. I'm like, well, maybe if we shift this or did this or develop this character this way or did like, I'm going to do my best to sit down with you and figure out a way for that to happen. Um,
Hmm.
and I did not know that I was that. So 25 years, I looked up and I was like, you have a team of people, at least in my case, who started out as my interns, my PAs. Now they're, VP at networks. They're doing all sorts of crazy stuff. And they're all like, no, literally, I remember you told me this and I
Right.
knew that I could do it because of that. And I was like,
Right.
if that's my
I get that
role,
too.
I'm
I
happy.
it, and I don't remember either. I'm like, I said that, and they're like, yeah. I'm like, oh, that does sound like me. That sounds good. Who told you that? Oh, me?
Nicole,
That's great
every
advice.
time. Every time they're like, you remember when you told me? I'm like,
I'm like, no, no.
sometimes the message just is passed through me. I don't,
Yes, you gotta let him
just,
come work through you. That's why you gotta let
honey,
him
just,
come through you. Just
yes.
you know,
Mm-mm. And that's what
you're
I
a
tell,
messenger.
exactly. I'm an intercessor, honey. Here it is.
Exactly.
Um,
We can see. Okay, sorry.
Exactly. No, I'm taking it to church right now. No, that's why I tell some of my students, I'm like, I when we're on our lives and we're pitching and I'm like throwing out ideas left and right, I'm always like, take it, take it. It's not even for me. Like when an idea is for me, I know it, I have it, it's here. But
Hmm.
90% of it is not for me. It's out there. Take it. Go for it.
Exactly.
Yeah. I will be
It,
fine. If I need ideas to eat, I will still be fine. Okay?
exactly.
I will still be a
Oh my
plus size
God.
baddie.
I say amen. I'm like not proprietary with my stuff. I'm just like people just because they operate from a place of lack. Like they're
Yes.
always trying
Yes.
to be like hold it on like with a vice grip. And I'm just like, you do realize though, the more you hold on to it, the easier
The
it is
less
for
you
you
can
to fall out. Like you're not I just think people need to relax. That's my whole thing. I'm like, y'all need to relax because it's not that
me
serious. It's
too.
just TV. It's just TV. It's not. We're not curing
It's
cancer.
not
We're
brain
entertaining
surgery.
people. Like people are gonna steal my ideas. Okay, but guess what? I always say I've said this before too. You got to be mindful of the people you have. That's another thing. That's another thing I would
Yeah.
T I'm gonna drop. It's like when you're in this industry, you got to be mindful of the people that are around you because a lot of the times people will be around you because of what you can do, and they can't do it,
Mhm.
right? So they're gonna try to copy you and mimic you and all that jazz. But this is the real tea. It's not you. It's a version of you But
Mhm.
because it's you, it's going to be unique to who you are. So it's not going to hit the same if they try to
Mm-mm.
do it, right?
Mm-mm.
Like how many times have we seen people go, "Oh my God, I'm suing such and such because they stole my idea," and then the judge throws it out because then what they do is they look at the material that they're talking about, and then they're like, "Actually, this has nothing to do with your material. In fact, it's actually much better than the thing that you came up with because
You're
that's
like, "Oh."
theirs."
Yeah.
Because it's theirs, right?
Yep.
So focus on what you can bring to the table, and believe it, no one can. It's not copyable. I know that's not a word, but it's just not. I just really wish people would stop paying attention to what's going on here
Mhm.
and just focus on this, what's ahead,
Yep.
right? It's you.
Get in your lane and run
Get
your
in your
race.
lane and just
Yeah.
run your race. Don't be worried about these people over here. These
Mm-mm.
people are whack.
Mm-mm.
Even if they're great, they're whack.
They're
That it doesn't
whack. Yeah.
matter. Like it doesn't matter. Like you just need to be focused on you. Thank you, Anita. They cannot mimic your authenticity. Like I'm telling y'all, like what's for you is for you. Like I
Yep.
cannot stress that enough. And so I always try to tell people that like what's for you is for you. Focus on you and what you bring to the table and don't compare yourself. The minute you compare yourself,
You've lost.
you've lost.
Yeah, you've lost.
And look,
No,
it is a daily struggle for me because I be comparing myself sometimes too. But it's a choice. Every day I have to wake up and make a decision. I'm gonna just go do what I want to do and not worry about others. So
I don't do a whole lot of comparison, but it's only by default. It's like by accident. I get so
mhm.
focused and hyper like focused on what I'm doing that I don't realize what's going on. And I look up and I'm like, "Oh, oh, that happened? Oh, great. Great for you." Like that's exciting. And then I'm like head back down doing my work. No, but it really hit when you said people will be around you just because of what they think you can do for them. And that was probably the hardest welcome to the entertainment industry lesson I had to learn.
Mhm.
So much so that I had to unlearn it in my personal life. Like I was like, okay, this
Mhm.
circle of people around me that I'm like going out to bars with, having a great time with, they are really here because they think this Emmy award winning TV producer can provide them with an avenue somewhere. And I'm like, that's you don't need that because the T for me is I will give it to you if I can. So I can't have people already trying to take things. So I had to
Okay.
like it was the hardest lesson. I was
The
like, I'd
hardest
learn it
lesson.
the hard way. The hardest
Yeah.
lesson.
You're gonna learn. I mean, people are some good finessers, but I think it's really important to again when you know what you want to be, in where even if it's not in the entertainment industry, no matter what industry it is, you're going to attract like-minded people. My circle of friends are all about that life. We're all
Mhm.
like-minded. We are very family oriented. We love having a good time. We have a little bit of Delulu. Thank you, Brandon.
We love Delulu.
Uh, I love living in Delululand. It's one of my favorite places to be.
Same.
We have a little bit of Delulu. We have, um, I know, right? Multiple Emmys. Okay. Um, Emmys, plural. Um, but we're all very like-minded. So yeah, you'll find your tribe. You will definitely
Mhm.
find your tribe. But it is very important to know who you are before you come here. I came here married with a vision and all that. I didn't get lost in the sauce. A lot of people
Mhm.
come here and get lost in the sauce. And then when the pandemic happened and people were like, wait, the industry isn't just red carpets and parties. No, sis,
No. No.
it's
No.
not.
No. No.
And a lot of people left. A lot of people left.
Yeah.
So here we are.
It's
Here we
blood,
are.
sweat, and tears, honey. A lot of
Okay.
tears. There's always crying in TV. Always crying. We
Mm.
just do it in the bathroom. Or now that we are now that we're some of us work from home now, we can cry in our own living room and then get back
Yes.
on the Zoom call. Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so I know we talked about sort of inspirationally what can be done or what they should keep in mind. Are there
Mhm.
any practical? Is there any practical advice like do this, do A, B, C, and D, or start here when it comes to any advice you could give our students about breaking in, like with their own
Mm.
project or developing their own project?
What? Okay, so I didn't have much coming in. I was an assistant, right? So I the only thing I had was my taste and my knowledge of TV.
Mhm.
So that's all I had. Taste, no, taste, knowledge, TV, and passion. Those are the three things I had. That's what got me this job, to be honest, because I went from a creative executive at Spring Hill, which is basically like a manager, it's like a lower level executive. And then all of a sudden, I'm now running a business, a TV division at a production company. And so the reason why I got hired, thank you. The reason why I got hired is God, and two, and
Clock it.
ancestors, and then three, God,
Clock
ancestors,
it.
and the passion and vision and taste I had. Because when I talked about uh, shows and things I wanted to produce, like I could say it uh, with my shoulders held high and with a passion because I watched a lot of TV. So a lot of times I was like, I just want to do a Buffy. I just want to read. I just want to bring back
Love
Buffy,
Buffy.
and then figure out how do I tell it from a young Black woman's perspective, for anyone's perspective, really, or how do I tell a story about this, or how do I tell a story about that? And then I think what resonated with my bosses, particularly Jamie. So one of there's three founders of Project X, Jamie Vanderbilt, William Shatner, and Paul Heinstein. Jamie Vanderbilt is the screenwriter extraordinaire. Everyone has seen movies. They've
Mhm.
seen White House Down, the couple of Spider-Man movies, the recent Scream movie franchise, Ready or Not, Abigail. He did Zodiac, The Losers, all this other stuff.
Mhm.
So he wanted to really make space for women in the horror genre because it's overwhelmingly male,
Yeah.
despite the fact that like Debbie Hill is like one of the pioneers of I think she was the only women that produced Halloween. I think her name is Debbie Hill. But anyways, the thing is that when he's heard that, he then responded in kind. So then it was like, oh, yeah, this person is gonna go and hit the ground running and go
Mhm.
find really cool stuff for us. And I think I have really good taste because I watched everything and I was
Yeah.
able to like talk about what I like and didn't like. I didn't just say, oh, I don't like this show. I explained, I don't like the show because I feel like the tone is off, or I didn't like the show because I felt like they, the one of the characters arc that it fell off, like no one,
Mhm.
revisited this person. So basically study the craft, right? Study the craft and come in with the knowledge because a lot of times that's all you have, and then it's networking your ass off, right?
Yeah.
Like network, network, network. This business is based on that. And so as long as you're coming from a genuine place, don't just network with anybody. Work with people because there's gonna be people like, oh, I'm just gonna network, and then you just like meet people you don't like. Network with
Yeah.
people you
What does
like.
that even mean? Yeah.
Like when I first came here in 2016, yes. I just basically met with, agents, young agents, managers, assistants, people that I vibed with who are now agents, managers,
Mhm.
department heads, decision makers, all of that. It's because I built a friendship with them. We have this like Black Mama, hang on WhatsApp, and it's filled with all these Black moms who are heads of studios and
I love that.
SCP level at networks and all that jazz. But I can genuinely say I like those people. I'm not. I didn't put them
Mhm.
in a WhatsApp group because I felt like it. I put them in WhatsApp because I like
Cuz I
them,
like them. I like
right?
them. Yeah.
And so yeah, it's like so in short, it's the passion, the knowledge, and networking. Those are the three things that you can do. I think it's very important, especially being able to say what are your shows that you're watching now and why, and explaining why in an articulate way will take you very, very far.
I love that. I love that 'cause that's so true. No, I have a very similar, WhatsApp group with Black women in, daytime talk. So
Mm, I love it. I love
so
it.
we just chatted up, and we all at some point were PAs together, researchers together, and now we've all sort of worked our way through the ranks, and, now I sound very impressive when I list out my friends. They're
No, but
like,
you are. You are impressive. You know, we know people. We know people. We know you know
mm,
people.
mm.
You know
I
people.
mean, maybe,
Mhm.
maybe. Um, yes, I do know wonderful, fabulous people. Okay, so but that does kind of bring me to my last question. That I want to open it up if you have time for us for a couple
Yes.
questions for the chat.
Yeah.
So my last question is, what are you watching now? Like, what is on your screen nowadays?
I'm watching Paradise with Sterling K. Brown.
Oh, please, please! I have no one to talk to about that.
I was hating on it for a little bit, and then I'm like, no, okay, I like the show. I could not get like the first episode. I was really annoyed by these flashbacks. So I was like, I really want to know what's happening in the present. Like, why do
Are
you
we
keep going
flashing
back?
back?
But then it's Fogelman. That's what he does. So yeah, I really am enjoying Paradise. If you haven't watched it yet, but I'm excited about White Lotus coming back today, so I'll be
Yes,
watching that.
yes.
Um, I really love Housewives, so I've been watching Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and New York City and Potomac and just that foolishness. Um, and then I'm gonna be honest, I don't feel like there's a lot of good stuff on TV at the moment. So
Yeah,
I haven't gotten to Severance season 2 yet, but I really did enjoy
yeah.
season 1. I love Slow Horses, and I need to catch up on that. I've heard great things about Prime Target, which is also an Apple show. Um, I'm a big K drama fan, so I'm like rewatching an
I
old
love
K
that.
drama.
I love that. I found myself in down the K-drama rabbit hole on Netflix. I don't know
Yeah.
what the algorithm. I watched one, like, didn't realize it was on. Watched one episode of something, and
Which
then I
one was
looked
your
up.
what popped your cherry? Which K drama popped your cherry?
Okay, I don't even think I can remember the name of it, but I'm going to tell you, and you probably know what story it is. It's about a princess
Hmm.
who was adopted, and she made her way back to the kingdom, and then oh, let me just find it. Let me just find it because it is
I don't remember
absolutely
that.
yeah, it's,
My first one was Crash Landing on You, which is the story of the woman that was in a parachute and then she suddenly found herself in the North Korea, which makes no sense. But it was that was my jam. Like it was 70 episodes of like literally mini movies and I loved every bit of it. So Crash Landing on You was first, and then I watched Kingdom, which is basically Game of Thrones meets Walking Dead, which was amazing.
uh-huh.
And then
Mhm.
I just went through all of them so much. Crash Landing is a perfect starter drama because it's rom com. But I watched so many that I ended up subscribing to Vicky, um,
Yes.
because
I
I was
saw
like, I
that,
can't
I
watch
saw that.
it. And then on Vicky, now if y'all want the greatest K drama of all time, it's Guardian the Lonely God, aka
Okay,
Goblin. You're welcome. Because when
okay.
I tell you, y'all are going to love Goblin. First of all, it stars one of my bays,
Oh, wait.
Gong
Who? Because
Yu.
I yes, 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 yes. I'm like, "Wait, these are all the same guys from the drama I was telling you about." I just can't find
Mm,
the name of it.
is it?
I cannot remember the name of this. I feel like it's gonna haunt me. I'm gonna have to go into my Netflix and,
It
like,
feels
find it.
familiar.
I
But
have to
when I
find it.
tell you, y'all, when I tell you Goblin, because the reason why I love Goblin
Guardian,
so
the
much is
Lonely, and Great
because
God.
yeah, yes. What I love about him,
Okay.
but that show in particular, is that if they put so many genres in one show and it works. Yes, Josie. Josie knows. Josie knows. Goblin is that girl. I have seen Goblin 5 times, probably 5 times. from the initial time I saw it in 2020, and then it became a thing where I would watch it every Christmas. I don't know why, but I would watch it every Christmas. And episode 13 to this day, Dong Yu and Lee Dong Wook. Yes. When I say
I need to get into it. I need to get into it. Netflix
just be
had me
careful, just
down.
no, but I'm saying like just be careful because Goblin, you're
I'm
gonna
gonna
be
be
up.
hooked.
You're gonna be up.
Okay.
You're gonna be up.
Okay.
You're not gonna sleep. You're not gonna sleep. You're not gonna sleep.
Okay. I feel like we have
Um,
similar tastes too, though, because Buffy was that was my show. Buffy was
girl,
the show.
and
The
it's
show.
coming back, and it's coming back with
I
two of my favorite.
know.
Two of the writers are friends of ours. So and
Oh,
they're in good. The show is in good hands. Trust, the show is in
yes.
good hands. So
Okay.
it's in
I'm
great
here
hands.
for
It's
it.
in great
I'm
hands.
here for it.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna have Steph. Can you grab some questions? I see Nash has one. Um,
I
let's
think Tracy's,
see.
I just saw Tracy's question. That's a really good question. What's the average amount of
Okay,
TV I watch to balance being in the know and not losing your distinct voice?
that's good,
Um,
Tracy.
I think that's a very good question. So I watch a lot of TV. I don't just watch TV like it. I watch, when I say I watch TV, I watch like everybody's stuff. So I watch domestic and international. I watch a little bit of everything. And I still don't see what I want to see. Like, I think because of who I am and what I want to watch, I still don't see what I want to see because the industry, even though it has grown internationally, we have more co-pros, we get more titles from abroad. Um, it's 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 gotten a bit homogenous, right? It's gotten a bit little formulaic. And you can even I
Hmm.
would even say, since we're talking about K dramas, it's hard to find a really good K drama post 2018, 2019, because when you watch the ones that are popping up now, they're trying to be like American television. And so they lose a
Yeah.
little bit of their
Mm-mm.
Koreanness
Yeah.
culturally in their shows. Like I watched The Trunk because I love Gone You, and I was like, y'all ain't give no notes for this. No, no, this didn't connect. Where did this arc go? Y'all find? Did y'all find the arc? The arc is lost.
It is lost. It is lost.
It's so obnoxious. So, I think that despite me watching a lot of TV shows, because of who I am, like I really want to watch shows about moms. I want to watch shows about messy women. I want to watch shows about relationships. I want to watch a happy relationship on. I still haven't seen that, right? Like one of the things that
Hmm.
I'm producing right now is a procedure where the husband and wife love each other. They actually want to hang out with each other.
What?
Shocker.
It's unheard of. Unheard of.
So there's always you can watch it a lot and still feel like still feel like you have this distinct voice,
I
that you're
like
not borrowing.
I like Nash's question here. It kind of leads us into that. What's an unrated or underrated genre you like to see more Black TV show creators tackle?
Oh my gosh, yes, sci-fi. Like,
My
I
favorite.
am trying to. There's one project I had too that was like a Black Mirror episode where the two leads were black, a young black man, a young black woman, and they're trying to solve a mystery. It plays around with memory, and it's like Minority Report meets The Fugitive, like that kind of tone. Um,
Mhm.
and yeah, we don't see enough Black folks in sci-fi, which is why I was excited about Paradise. Spoiler alert, sorry, I don't know if anyone hasn't seen it yet, but it has a little bit of that in there.
Mhm.
It's like, futuristic, alternative history type of shows. So sci-fi for sure. I would love for people to do historical drama that has nothing to do with marching or being enslaved. I really would love to find. There was one book called, I can't remember the name, but it was a book about a woman whose mom or grandmother ran numbers in Chicago in the basement of her
Ooh.
house. So that was so cool. And it was like this beautiful story about family, but also about like the presence of her grandmother in this neighborhood and how she ran the numbers, how dangerous it was, but how it was kind of the center of that neighborhood, right? Like just
Mhm.
so just black folks just being like, yes, we know it's historical. Yes, they dealt with shit. We
We
get it. And I'm not
know.
trying to minimize it, but because it feels like people want to erase that history now. But I
Yeah.
would love to see something like, oh, a good example of this is Black Cake. I don't know if anyone
I
saw
can I
Black
tell
Cake.
I literally was just about to say that. I was literally just
Chef's
about to say
kiss.
that.
Chef's kiss.
I was
And yes, okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry.
no, no, no. I was just gonna say, like, literally while you're talking, I was like, oh, like Black Cake. Like that had the reason why I love that series and why I can relate to what you're saying is I want developed characters. I want people who existed other than through somebody else's storyline or as a reaction to somebody else's storyline. Like black people, we exist in whole parts. Like we
Mhm.
have love, we have heartache, we have
Yes.
adventure, we have life. Please show
Yes,
that.
and we have
Please show
secrets,
that.
and we have reasons for
Yes.
those secrets, even though they don't make sense. But like, I would love to see that. But Black Ink is a perfect example of how you do multiple timelines. The casting was phenomenal. You can tell they spent money, and the writing was great, and it was a Black family drama. Unfortunately, got canceled because I think it's a combination of the strikes because people weren't able to
Mhm.
promote it. And when they were able to promote it, they were focused on other things. And I don't say who they are. But
Yeah. Mm.
um, I just think that I would love to see more of those kinds of stories where, we can exist in the past but not have to be struggling. Um, like, Black Wall Street, police free us from Black like Black Wall Street, like stuff like that. Self-made is a perfect example.
Yeah.
With activity, like it was just about a black woman starting a business. She had a little bit of a rival. She had a little bit of a husband that wasn't no good, and a daughter that just didn't know what she was going to do with herself, and those
Mhm.
kinds of things, right? So yeah, so it's sci-fi, it's historical drama. Romance, like romance dramas, like Outlander. Like Outlander is my shit. Like, why can't I have an Outlander with black people in it?
I don't know
Can we
why.
have an Outlander with black people in it?
We
Children of
can.
Blood and Bone is gonna have to check. I mean, that's the closest thing that I'm like, yes, Children of Blood and Bone, yes, that would be a feature, but I really would love to find that on TV, but it's expensive. Blah, blah, blah. But
It
yeah,
is. It is. It is. Nicole, you should meet Anita who's in our group. I feel like I should do an introduction for you guys. That is Anita's wheelhouse. That's the stuff that she's like constantly writing, constantly pitching,
love it.
constantly like I feel like even just a conversation between you guys would be like a fun, exciting, like inspirational conversation. So maybe
I love it.
with I'll chat with you about it afterwards. But no, that's her wheelhouse. Every time she sends me something, I'm like, girl, like, why are you sending this to me? I need you to send this. Like,
To send it to
what
somebody
are
who
we
knows what they
doing?
do. Yeah,
Like,
it
what are
is an
we doing?
uphill battle. I just, but thankfully, there's a lot of people who agree. But I really would love to find those genres. First of all, those genres are underrated overall. Like a lot of people are just not doing romance dramas. A lot of people are not just
Mhm,
doing, historical dramas at all. They're just not because it's expensive. Historical dramas expensive. Romance dramas, they think it's just so niche and no one cares. But then every time a movie drops or anytime a show drops, like, oh my gosh, so many people watch it. Yeah, duh. Like
mhm.
we want to watch hot people doing hot things. Like what part of y'all don't
Yeah,
y'all understand? It's very simple, y'all. Hot people doing hot things. That's what we all want to see.
done and done. Done and done. That's what we
Come
wanna
on,
watch.
come
They
on.
can do other things in between, but it's the hot people doing hot things. Thank you.
Hot people doing hot things. Sign me up.
I love
But
it.
yes, yes, I would love that. Yeah. How did you stay focused and tuned in? How did I stay focused? You know, I don't know. I mean, like I said, it's a daily effort to stay focused. 'Cause, y'all, I'm tired.
It's like, I don't know. It's day to day. I'm
It's day
focused
to
on
day.
Wednesday.
But it is day to day. I was telling my assistant, I was like, do not tell me what's on the schedule tomorrow. Just focus on today. because I can't. If I think about tomorrow, I get anxiety. Um, Honestly, it's the friend group I have. I think because we're all fighting that good fight.
Mhm.
But because I have this outlet too with this podcast that I'm doing, because I finally, when I turned 40, I realized that like what I wanted to be. And what I wanted to be was like be the joy and the light and all that. Yes, but specifically I wanted to build community. I knew that.
Nicole,
Yeah.
I
So then
can't my top of 25 and everyone's like, "What's your New Year's resolution?" I'm like, "I don't really do resolutions, but 2 words keep popping up in my mind, community and care." And I'm like,
that's it.
I don't know if that's a complete sentence in and of itself, but I'm moving in community and with care. Like
That's it.
that's it.
That's it. It's
Yeah.
it's I think because again, post election, waking up in a fetal position that morning, I realized that I had been treating. Oh, well, let me say this because I want to end on a positive note. At the end of that day, that Wednesday, when we all realized that we would not have Kamala as president, Kamala, so I'm still wearing the merch. It's the most comfortable sweater ever. But I realized I was like, okay, I have to treat America like my ex. Like I
Yep.
gotta put you on. I gotta block you. We
Mhm.
on break right now. And
Mhm.
what I've learned is that like we really need community. We need joy. So the
Yep.
point of starting, we are out of office with my homegirl who's an author. Her name is Jane Allen. She wrote a book series called Black Girls Must Die Exhausted, and another book called The Most Wonderful Time that just came out. Black Girls is at BET Studios right now being adapted into a TV series. Um, and we were former neighbors and we bonded over here and we just became friends. And so when it came to like what, because she would ask me like, what do you want to do? Because I had this feeling I needed something else. I was like, yes, this is
Mhm.
great. I have night agent. I was like, but something else is missing. I don't know what that is. And she was like, "Well, I want to build a community." And I was like, "Well, what is that?" And then so when we got down to it, it was like, let's just start a podcast. Let's just start there where we can talk about all the things that matter to us. Like I
I love
said,
that.
if it's like black women in dating, even though we're tired of the conversation, I know, but we need to still have this conversation because a lot of us are still not married.
Mhm.
Or food, candles, I don't know, like anything
I
and
love it.
everything. Like literally we open every podcast with an out of office reply. We uplift a young woman, or just not a young woman, but a woman that we call it, we see you girl. So we talk about that, and then we go into what we're on right now. Like recently I was talking about astrology and how that's brought me
Mhm.
closer to God.
Oh, I
um
love that.
then we have a Jesus take the wheel moment where we kind of do a little rant. And then we'll do, like, this month is Black History Month, of course. So we are
Mhm.
doing a segment called Black Facts, which I talk about a Black fact, or also talk about minding
I
my Black
love.
business, where we spotlight a Black business. And then we
Oh,
end
wait,
the
I love
episode.
that.
Yeah, mind my Black business.
You're speaking to the talk show producer in me. I'm like, "Yes, segment 3, love it. Okay."
Right? We produce it. I produce it.
I was like, "Okay."
So yes, mind my Black business. And then we close it with health and healing, which is where, last week I was talking about how you should date yourself. Like go out, take yourself out on a
Mhm.
date. I learned I know I'm very talkative right now, but I really like to be silent. Have you ever been silent?
Uh,
Not silenced, but silent.
yes.
It's great. Just sitting in your silence.
It's it's scary for me. It's scary for me.
I thought that too, but then you got to ease into it. But I took myself out to lunch for the first time in a long time. I said maybe 10 words, and it was great. It was
Ooh, I
great.
might have to try that. I might have to try that.
Yes. Just
I
take it
took
and
myself to
just
dinner the other day and it was
you're like, girl, I
no,
can't handle
no, I love going to dinner by myself. Like I like time by myself, right? But I
it.
just moved to a new area and
Oh
apparently
yeah.
in this area women going to dinner by themselves is not a thing. And
Oh,
so I'm sitting there at the table and everybody's so worried about me. They're like, "Oh, So did your husband not want to come with you? And I was like, why are you in? First of all, why are you in my
What is my
business?
business?
I just I just want a
Can't
gin
I think
martini and a
exactly.
nice little meal. That's it.
That's
That's
what I'm
it.
saying.
That's
Get out
it.
of my face.
That's
Listen, these people need to relax. Like dating
it.
yourself is great, and then we
It's
close
fun.
with a final word. And our final word they're always meant to be encouraging and thought provokers, and for you to discuss at home. But I think that honestly, I just answered the question. When I said I don't know, this is how I know. This is the response. This is the response. Because I have an outlet to do the things that I love to do outside of TV, that's how I stay
Mhm.
focused and tuned in because I'm scratching this other itch.
That is it. That is it.
That's what it is. Thank you, Nash.
That is it.
That's what is it. That's what it is. It's because I'm doing this, I'm able to be like, so when I come back to it, I can stay focused and tuned in because I'm
Mhm.
getting all the other things out. I'm just sorry. I'm now looking at all of the someone talking about seafood boil and
I can't. No, I can't. They made up a whole cooking show in the chat. A whole cooking show called Seasoned. I
y'all are funny. I'm, don't make me want to come back here every week, y'all, because this is hilarious. Call
Trust me, they will love it.
oh my
They no,
god.
this happens all the time. I'm like, this is why I love this. Like this was part of me building community of people that just love entertainment industry the same way I do. And I just happen to have a little bit more knowledge about it so I can share it, but it's the same energy. It's so much creativity every week. They
It's
do
great.
their pitch decks. Absolutely love it. No, but that is the thing. So I have a whole soap company that has nothing to do with anything, and it's so random. I
Soap,
literally
like
just
soap, like
yes, like
soap.
yes, like I make homemade soap
Girl,
and
you
I
gotta send me that
sell
link.
it. No, I will I will send it to you. I will send you some soap actually. No, I it has nothing to do with anything. It's like a random thing that some people know about me, some people don't. And but whenever I'm like super stressed, I have to just shut everything out and I just make batches of soap and then people just get soap in the mail. I'm just like, "Here you go." I cuz I can't make one bar of soap. I have to make minimum a batch of 10. So making it, I'm like, it can't stay in my house. I don't need 40 bars of soap. I
I
don't.
love this so much. I'm listen, this is what I'm saying. Like I feel like this is across the board entertainment. A lot of people are realizing that they can put all their eggs in a basket. Gone are the days where you can do one show like Friends and then make $20
Mhm.
million a year
And
around
live
this
off
and
of
that.
it.
You can't do
Mhm.
that now. You gotta have like 50, 11 friends. And honestly, I don't know if I'm gonna do 50, 11 friends. And to be quite honest, I don't know if I want 50, 11 friends. I don't know if I want friends, to be honest. But what I
Or
want to
living
do
single. We call it living single over here.
is living
Okay.
single. There's a comedian that had a whole bit about living single. It was really funny. But anyways, the point is it's like I want to make the shows I want to make, and I want to tell the stories that I want to tell, and I want to connect with people that I want to connect with the things that I create. But I also know that I have to be a full, how do you call it? What's what I'm trying to say? I have to be a whole person. So in
Yeah.
order for me, again, to do the things that I love to do, I got to be able to do all the things that I love. And one of the things I love talking about is make sure I love talking shit. So I'll talk shit.
And that's
It brings me
fun.
joy. And listen,
Yeah.
I listen. I don't judge. A little, just a little bit of
Just
judgment, just a
a
tad.
tiny bit.
But that's what it is. And so the goal is I'll still produce and do all the things that I love to do and create those amazing stories. But Nicole wants her PR box. And I do too. What are you talking?
I can't because I mentioned soap. I
Oh my God,
can't.
y'all are hilarious. No, but listen, the thing is, I want to do the things I want to do, but also build the community I want to build because I think that's
Mhm.
important. Fully realized being, that's what I want to be. I just want to be, I want everyone to
Yes.
realize their full potential so that when they come to our podcast for that hour, when they're done, they are off into their respective fields and are able to be radically joyous wherever they are. So
Yeah.
everyone can't be Jasmine Crockett. I cannot what she does. I just can't.
Mm.
So I would hope that Jasmine Crockett's of the world will come to our podcast and get their kiki and then go off and continue to, do the good
Do
work
what
that
they
they do.
do. Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
wait, what is? Oh, I just saw this one. Why are producers casting so against that require act? How does,
Let's see. So against casting proper individuals for roles that require accents, and how hard is it to pitch a foreign film? Huh.
mm. Okay, so I don't know about foreign films, but anything foreign is it's hard because we don't have treaties with countries. We don't have production
Mm,
treaties.
yeah.
So, you can't take advantage of their tax credits unless they're letting you in. So that's why it's hard to do anything foreign. When you look at countries like Canada, France, New Zealand, they have production treaties with multiple countries. So it's easy for them to go, okay, I have a show or a movie. I won't say easy because everything is hard. But like I have a show where it takes place in New Zealand, but because you have a production treaty with Canada, you can do post in Canada, or if you get a Canadian director and then tap into those tax breaks there, which will bring the cost down of your thing, which
Mm-hmm.
would allow you to, if you have a $6 million budget, you tap a tax breaks there, you tap a tax breaks here, and you're left with like, okay, I need to find $1 or $2 million of soft money to, gap finance the rest of the way. So that's why it's hard for foreign films because, at least from the domestic perspective, because we don't have official production treaties with any of these countries. It's very obnoxious. Um, Something that I'm actually trying to learn more about. Went to London last year at a conference to understand what international co-pros look like and realize like it's not just simple as saying, oh well, we're just gonna have the show take place over here. That's not how it works. That's not how it works.
Mm-hmm.
It's the whole thing. Now, when it comes to casting people and accents, I mean, what it boils down to is the look.
Yeah.
Sean will tell you the look. Gabe, he had a very clear idea of what Gabe looked like and sounded like. And Gabe, I think, had a beard when he auditioned. And Sean was like, mm-mm. Gabe actually talks about this in a podcast. He was like, Sean was like, mm-mm, nope, don't want it.
Mm-mm.
And Gabe shaved and then he saw him and was like, oh, okay, yeah, he is our Peter. That's in large part to the casting director.
Yeah.
Papsadera really was like, no, this is your game. And this is why he's one of the best to do it, John Papsadera in the game, because he gets it. So it's not that like producers are actively trying to do this. A lot of the times it's because there's a certain look that the showrunner has, or the group of producers have in mind for the show, and that's what they go down with. And then sometimes the casting directors will be like, "Nah, bruh, you really need to look at this person. I'm telling you, look at this person." And then sometimes it's like, "Mm-mm, we don't get it." And then other times it's like, "Oh, okay, cool." Like Lucy Annie, she had been in one show, the girl that plays Rose. Let's forget season 2 for a second. Season 1, she was that girl. She was doing
Yeah.
her thing. And if we did not have the casting director to suggest Luciani, I don't know if we would have ever seen her, right?
Which is
Because we were
insane.
looking at other people.
She's so
She's so good,
Rose. She's
so
so
good,
Rose.
so good, so
Yeah.
good.
Aside from that, Rose in season 1, I also loved her because she also was real. When she was like, "Why are you still trusting these people?" I was like, "Thank you, Rose. Thank you. Why is he still trusting these people?" She was like, "And I
Exactly.
told you. I told you."
Exactly. I told you you can trust those people, and then here comes Peter. But yeah, no, they do have teachers to help with the accents. They do have consultants come on board. Like this season, when we have this the whole Iranian storyline, there Sean didn't want to get we didn't want to get canceled, so we got
Mm,
an Iranian director. We had someone that spoke Persian, but they had to write because speaking Persian and writing Persian. so that we translated the scripts back and forth to make sure that it was correct. Um, it takes real care, and it's for a lot of the times it's the producers are going to have to make that effort. Some producers just don't make that effort, and you can tell as
I was gonna say,
you know
and it shows. And
and
it
it shows.
shows.
You be like, that accent is horrible. It is not African. I don't know who told you that would work, because sometimes they feel like, oh, no one will care, and they don't understand their audience. Audiences will care. I will say that, like, as long as I'm in it, and if there's ever a character, and you're this is recorded, and you come at me years from now, you be like, Nicole, remember you said, as someone who is first gen, families, like I said, a child of immigrants, I'm going to make sure that if there's anyone doing any kind of accent, like I'm going to call it out. I'm like, no, don't like their accent, because I don't want y'all coming for me in the Twitter or X or whatever the platform is at that time,
And they
like,
they
because
will.
y'all gonna
They
know,
will. They
y'all gonna know.
will.
Um,
They will. So
what
I
else do you
think
have?
I know they're putting more questions there, but we have kept you for an hour and a half, and we
Oh
love you
wow,
for it.
oh
We
my
love you
god,
for it, but we do not want to take up too much more of your time.
no,
So
this
I
is
just want to
great.
say, thank you so much for doing this. Like I said, our students loved it. They were looking forward to it. I was like, y'all better binge watch all the seasons, okay? And don't come on here embarrassing me. Uh, get in here and ask some
You
good
better not.
questions.
That no,
Um,
these are great. I'm just going through it just to real quick to see if there's anything real quick that I can
let's see. What's a
answer.
mistake or misconception about the industry that you see writers consistently make? Let's see that one.
Mm. Oh, that they think their shit is fire and they won't take any notes. Y'all gotta take notes, y'all. Please take the notes.
Flexible. You got to be flexible. You got to
Just
be flexible.
please, 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 please be flexible, because look, you don't have to take everyone's notes. The only notes that you have to take are the ones that actually make your stuff good. The thing that you want to do, and if someone gives you a note that actually makes the thing you want to do better, take it. Now, if they're giving you a note that takes you on a whole different direction, don't take it. Then they don't get it, because there are people who, it's all subjective. There are people who will read your stuff and be like, I don't get it. Why can't the character do this, this, and this? And you as a writer can be like, because I don't, because that's not the story I'm trying to tell. Now,
Hmm.
if you can tell when someone reads your thing and understands what you're trying to do. And the way that I frame it is, can you explain to me why this character makes a decision here? Because earlier they said this, and I think that's cool. But if they said this, why would they do this? Like, you got to
Hmm.
listen to how they frame it as they give you the note. If someone's just saying, I don't like it, that's not the right person. You just
Mm.
do not pass go or collect $200 or whatever the hell it is. Just leave them alone, because they're not understanding what you're trying to do, right?
Hmm.
So just keep that in mind. But yeah, definitely don't come in here thinking you're the next Spike Lee. You probably are the next Spike Lee, but don't act like it yet. Just keep
Not
that
yet. Not yet.
here, and
Hmm.
be humble, and take notes and direction, but again, only if it helps with what you're trying to do. So I think that's very important. Be flexible for sure. That's yeah. That, and have fun. Like, it's fun to play in make believe, and it is work
Hmm.
for sure, and it can be daunting, it can be scary, it can be maddening, but have fun. I think that's also very important. So those are
It
my
is.
thoughts.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay. We have.
Constructive criticism, emphasis on constructive. Nash, you funny. I like you. But you,
Oh,
oh,
don't get me started on Nash. Don't get me started on Nash.
Nash is hilarious. You guys are great.
Nash.
We
Nash. By the
appreciate it.
way, has perfect pitch decks. Nash is very much focused and very clear on her vision. And when she writes something down, it's like, I get it. It's solid. She draws me into the world immediately. So,
I love
um,
it. I
It's
love it. Yes,
fantastic.
Brandon. Yes, you can be humble and confident. That's what it is. Be humble and confident. Just don't be conceited and don't feel like you won't accept any notes because this is the problem. I'm gonna leave you with this, and this is shade. This is shade. Ryan Murphy, when he had notes, you know the shows that he was making was top tier. When he
Mm-hmm.
stopped getting notes, you know what those shows are. I am convinced. That's my daughter.
Ah,
I
she's
am
like,
convinced. Yes, she wants to be in the video. I'm convinced this man just like I'm not doing no notes,
no
and it
notes.
shows. So yes, and look, that's the shade. I'm sorry, I'm gonna be shady because I really love Nip Tuck. I need Ryan Murphy. I need Nip
Yes.
Tuck Ryan Murphy.
Yes.
Where did he go?
Yes.
I need
Can I tell you?
popular Ryan Murphy.
I almost forgot that was the same person. I almost forgot. Like you
Where's
just
that?
saying that, I was like, oh, that's right. That's
Where is
right.
popular Ryan Murphy? Where is Nip Tuck Ryan Murphy? Ever since he got that deal at Netflix, they stopped giving him notes, and you can tell in the show. And it's just like it's just too much. It's just
Mm-hmm.
too much. It's too much, Ryan. I can't do it. I haven't seen anything of his recent. I just can't.
Yeah.
What was the pace? The one that Pacey's in, Doctor Odyssey. I couldn't do it. I
Oh,
tried it.
no,
I,
no,
you right,
no,
you right,
no.
Trini. The last season of Nip Tuck was crazy. That's when they stopped getting notes. I'm telling you, the
I
notes they
completely
had.
forgot about Nick Tup. I used to love that show. I completely forgot about it.
That show was
It
that
was
show was
so
it.
good.
That show was
It was like the
it.
first
Okay.
of its kind too. It was like a
Yes, and these
yeah,
characters were just so crazy, and it felt very
and
Miami. And then
complex.
when I went to Miami, I was like, oh yeah, this is definitely Nip Tuck. But like, it's because the notes. When people care, they'll give you good notes. They'll tell you about character. You almost My notes are almost always character focused. They very rarely go into plot because character informs plot. So
Hmm.
that's why when I say like you can be confident and you can be humble, but you can also be mindful of the notes, be open to notes, the constructive criticism. That's all I'm saying. That's all. But
We
anyways,
love it.
y'all
We
are
love it.
hilarious. I love this. I love you
No,
guys.
they are hilarious. This is every week, and I just crack up laughing. I
Good
try to
group.
stay
Good group.
focused. Try to stay focused. Um, but I tell you, they'll tell you half the time I'm yelling at them. I'm like, "Well, y'all get it together." I just get it. I'm blocking them every other week. I'm like, "And you're blocked today." Okay, we're done with.
Oh no. Okay, widows choosing violence. Sorry, I'll be here. This is the last
What?
part. Widows fighter is choosing violence because they run a good Game of Thrones. Someone said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa! What do you mean?" Because the last season was basura. I said it. Have a great Sunday, guys. It was not. It was
Look,
basura.
we trust your opinion. Okay, we trust
I'm just
it.
saying.
We
They
trust.
could have done a little bit more with the development. It's just they dropped the ball in the last season. But overall the show overall game changer. It was
Yeah, for
amazing.
sure.
No, it was the characters, it was everything, but it was the way that they ended it was a little bit disappointing. I had notes.
Yeah.
I had
No,
notes.
wait, when you watch a show, are you
Yeah,
doing like mental?
all the time. All the time, and it's annoying. This is why because I will be like, my husband hates it because I'll be like, I got so many notes. He'd be like, we know you do, just relax.
We heard them all.
No, but I do. I watch things and I go, they dropped the ball with this character arc. Like one thing, like what's the show, Vampire Diaries, when they just threw the whole mythology out of the window. Like
Hmm.
one season, you tell me vampires can't be witches, and then all of a sudden, season 8 they can't be.
You're
But
like, what
I thought,
happened?
but you told me, like, come on, y'all. And then we know we want Damon and Bonnie to be together, but you're not trying to put Damon and Bonnie together. Like, what are you doing here? So, like, this is, anyways, yes, watching TV with me can be very annoying, but I know a show is good when I don't have notes. When I'm really in it,
in the
and
world.
I'm like not really noting things to death, but I definitely go, oh, they dropped the ball with this arc here. This character fell away.
That's
They didn't
so
develop that
funny.
person well enough. Yeah.
I think we might be opposite in that. I am suspended in every reality. The minute you
Mm.
the minute so, like, if I'm telling you a show is bad, it's beyond bad. Like, it's beyond repair because I will so easily be suspended. Like, I'm in it. Like, I am the type of person, if you watch a movie with me, I'm literally on the edge of my seat. Like, I'm literally like scooched forward on the edge of my seat when I'm supposed to be. I laugh when I'm
Yeah.
supposed to be. I
Yeah.
cry when I am like the audience. So if you can't suspend me, if you knock me out of that reality,
Then
it's
you're
so
like,
terrible.
it's
It's so
done.
terrible. It's
Yeah.
absolutely done. Done. So
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm the easiest audience. I really am. I'm the easiest audience. But if you knock me out of that world, I know two things to be true. One, I will never come back. And two, you drop the ball a lot.
A lot.
Like from a
No, you're right.
high up space.
Yeah, it's true. And yes, I can confirm the producer did not like Bonnie Brandon for Vampire Diaries. To this day, on site, if I see Julie Plec, it's on site. It's on site. Um, but no, but you're yeah. Like I really would love to watch a show and be complete, but for the most part, like even with Paradise, even though I had notes about this the first episode. I was like, they could have just done a bottle episode. They didn't have to do all these flashbacks. I still
Mm,
liked it because there were some twists and turns I didn't expect. Like I did
same.
not expect them being underground, or when somebody got. I was like, oh, like I did not expect that. So
Me
there's
neither.
enough there. There's enough there for
Me
me.
neither. But
Yeah,
imagine also being the easiest person to entertain. And
yeah,
I was sitting there watching that and I was like, oh no.
yeah.
Oh my God.
Same, same,
Every
same,
moment.
same, same, same,
So
same.
yeah.
Same Z's, same Z's.
You know what I
Well, we're
do
gonna chat.
though?
We're gonna chat because I
We
now we're
have
gonna
to.
chat
We
about
have to.
Paradise.
Yes, because I have no one to talk to about it. I'm surrounded by my family and they're not TV people. Like they just aren't.
Oh
And I'm
yeah, no,
like,
we gonna talk now. We're gonna talk now.
we gonna talk. We gonna talk. No, the one thing I do when I'm watching shows and it is a little bit annoying is I can tell you where everything was filmed. I I can tell you when it's the Paramount back lot. I can tell you
Yeah,
when you're in Toronto. I can tell you when you did you did the W Warner Brother back lot. I can tell you.
that is
I
hilarious.
And every time I'm like, now they know that is not the
Theo,
real
that
town
is not.
square.
Yes,
Come
yes,
on
they do
now.
that. That's very true. I can tell.
I'm
I
like,
can tell between Toronto and Vancouver. I can't
mm-hmm.
like. That's the only thing I can do. But anything else, I can't. I'm like, oh, I don't know where this one that. But I can tell
No,
between Toronto and
I
Vancouver.
absolutely no. Like, because I worked at Paramount, I worked on the Paramount lot in LA for like 8 years. And so
Oh.
I know that lot. And so I'm like, oh no, they're on Chicago Street. You see
Mm.
that building right there? To the left is where my office was. And then behind there, I'm like, it's the water tower. And
Right.
my sister's like, can you just stop? Like, just
I love
she's
it.
like, I actually don't care. And I'm
So
like,
like
but
you
it's so
just stop. But it's
fascinating,
so
right?
yes, because I think so too. But I love talking about character and plot, and when people do things so like like just unique, like Severance to me was just like mind blowing. Shogun was
Insane.
like Shogun. Even though Shogun, there's nothing new there. What I appreciated about Shogun was how simple the story was. It someone dies, whole bunch of people are coming after it. The end. Like that's it. Like there's no, we don't
I
need
haven't seen
anything
it. I
else.
haven't seen it. I
Are you
haven't seen
for
it.
real?
I know. I wasn't gonna say that. I was gonna hold it back, but I have not seen it. So
Girl,
it's on the list now. It's like it's getting
every
bumped up.
FYC, all the FYCs,
I know,
you ain't
I
gonna see the
know,
screen.
I know, I
Girl, bye.
know, I know, I
You
know.
need to
Can I
go
tell
see
you?
you need to go see it.
When it comes to FYCs, first of all, I was in New York, so it's like every fifth one is
That's
in New
right.
York.
That's right. They don't have a lot
Yeah,
in New York. Everything all of them are
they don't.
here.
No, can I tell you what's crazy? When the ones they do have in New York, they don't tell you this, but it's usually the premiere. It's usually the red carpet premiere. And they have like the producers and the like Emmy people. They have you go around the back so you don't even know. And you're just in the same theater together.
Oh.
And I discovered that because I accidentally walked the red carpet. I was like, wait, what? Wait, this isn't just like for funsies?
That
I was
is
like,
crazy.
why are this isn't just for funsies? Like I really thought I'm walking into this premiere, but they do it all the time, and they just have two separate entrances, and
Not
I was
cool.
like,
Not cool. Well,
at
this
least
last
let me
season
know
of
next time.
FYC was not that great. The one that
Yeah.
was the year before that my friend took me to was like it was great. But then I became a member, and I was so excited to go. And I was like, yes, I'm an Academy member. Yeah, I get to vote. I get to go to
Yeah.
FYC. And then I started going, and I was like, this is lame. This is lame. This is lame. But and then it was so hard to get into these events. But
Oh yeah.
anyways, I'm sorry, y'all. We're not even talking about the clash no more.
I
We just
know.
chit
Sorry,
chatting.
y'all. We just chit chat. Okay.
Okay.
We're
All right.
just chit chat.
I'm out. This was
Yes.
great. You
Thank you.
guys
Thank
are
you. Thank
great.
you. We
Um,
appreciate it.
we uh we are just so thankful. When I say we, I mean just collectively, we are just so thankful this even exists. Because people need to know, people need to be put on
Hmm.
game. And I'm really big on being transparent and honest so that people know what they're getting into, because I don't want people to come here and think it's gonna be one thing when it's definitely not. Because we don't have the time. And especially
Yeah.
now with, like I said, everything contracting, there's not a lot of room. So you got to make it count. You got to make it count.
Hmm.
I really wish there was more room, but it's so hard now. So take the time, do the work, network, watch everything, define who you want to be, and then go out in the world. So.
The inspiration. I love it. I love it. Our little motivational
Hmm.
pep talk for Sunday. I love it.
Oh, I'm always gonna leave with a final word. It's always gonna be with me. I'm always gonna leave with a pep
We
talk.
love it. Nicole, thank you so much. I know
Thank
they are
you.
like clapping and jumping up and screaming in the chat because they are just, this has been such a great interview. You're such a great person to have on the show. And I
Thank you.
love that we have similar approaches to like share the information. Let's just share the information.
Just
It's there.
sharing
It's there.
That's it. There's it.
That's
Thank
it.
you guys. Have a great rest of your evening, and have a great day off tomorrow for those. Hopefully, y'all have off.
Yep.
No.
Hopefully.
Oh, okay.
No.
All right. But I want some. I'm looking forward to that soap. So I want to try it
Yeah. Girl, you ain't saying nothing but a word, okay? Because
out. Okay. Thank you.
I love it. Talk to you soon.
Bye, guys.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Sorry, give me 2 seconds.
Okay. That was fun.
Yes, it was.